when I get my phone, it's not to get on eBay. It's just because the sound is adjustable through the application on the phone. I am delighted to carry on with the series of messages now that we do. It's been bumpy, but perfect. The time is on our side. We have a lifetime to do it. This is my message number 6, Peter the man and apostle, understanding his limitation. It's kind of a character study, and I want to do 1st and 2nd Peter, but I've decided before to do 1st and 2nd Peter to take his example of lapse of faith and as well as what he did all right in the text. Today he's going to walk on water and to see what's going on, what we learned from the man before he will sit down and write to us 1st and 2nd Peter, which are basically 2 messianic epistles that were written primarily to a Jewish audience, if you did not know that. There are 5 of such messianic epistles. The main one is Hebrews, the book of Hebrews. The name of it is enough. Jude, 1 chapter. James and 1st and 2nd Peter are your 5 messianic epistles. Not that the other epistles are no good, not at all, but I would like to look at them and what will be the result of it in a moment of time. And in the future as well. So Peter the man and apostle, and we read the passage, and needless to tell you, maybe you did not know, later on I will read another passage in Matthew of the parallel accounts, because only Matthew records the issue of Peter walking on the water. What I read in Matthew chapter 6 and Mark chapter 6 is the account of the storm, and now I would like to give you some background which will make sense for those who have been with us since the beginning of that series of messages. If you lack information, it's always time to go back and to follow previous messages, but you will understand what I mean. Right now, it's a bit of background. Last week, not last week, but weeks before, I explored with you the 9 parables that constitute the mystery kingdom aspect of the Bible. The mystery kingdom is the very kingdom that we are in right now. It's not the messianic kingdom right now, because when you look outside, the Messiah is not reigning from Jerusalem in the 1,000 year. So we are in the aspect of the mystery kingdom here, which include the church age. Like I said last week, it's going to help you to understand Anglicanism, Roman Catholicism, Duncan Independent Bible Church, Baptist, Pentecostal, Mormons, Christian Science, and all of them and so on in our era today, and the trees and the bird resting on the trees and so on and so forth. Then I address with you Matthew chapter 13:51, when he finished that on that busy day. The 9 parables were given by Jesus on the day that he was nationally rejected. And he asked them, have you understood all these things? And they said, yes. I read some commentary on it. Some people said they understood. No, I don't hold that view based upon what we will see today. The answer, yes. Today we will see together why I hold the opposite view, that it's the Lord Jesus. They said yes, not to look too funny, probably. Yeah, got it. But it's kind of funny because when he died, they locked themselves behind doors, not even believing the resurrection. So understanding all these parables and us, without excuse, they're written there. It takes about 10 messages to understand them properly. These guys were expecting, to a sense only, the Romans to be overthrown. And do you understand all these things? Yes, Lord. Oh, thank you so much. We will understand today why I hold that view. We carry on in background. Now after his rejection, and explaining the nature of the mystery things of the kingdom, like the 9 parables, his ministry will change. He will carry on doing miracles. Because we will see one today, walking on the water. You may try it to catch the ferry from Schwartz Bay to whatever, or the Tawasin to come here. It will not work. So he will continue to do miracles, but the nature of his miracles now, after his rejection, And after having presented the program that you fit in today, will be for the training of the 12 apostles, for the ministry that they will have to do during the church age and in the book of Acts. So the ministry will smell training sessions and so on. Right now, Jesus is here. This is the apostles, the 12, one line, the prophets of the New Testament. You have studied this with me quite intensely. I just wanted to show you this. That's the sea on which he walked. It's not big. It's called a sea and also a lake. The context today that we go back, let's put your hat of imagination. He just fed the 4,000 people. He just did it. Today, he did it. He fed the 4,000 type of thing, the feeding. In Luke chapter 9, let me go to just a sec, page 87, because I work by page. Right now, he fed the 5,000. In Luke chapter 9, verse 13, it says this. Be with me, it's the feeding. Don't go there. But he said unto them, you gave them something to eat. John, you give them something to eat. There are 4,000 people, no save-on food in the corner, no bakery in the corner. So the situation is what we call impossible and chaotic. I'm talking about the miracle of the 4,000 being fed right now. Okay, the feeding, not 4, 5. Sorry, it's a mistake, 5,000. And later on, he says in Matthew chapter 14, same account 19, and he took the bread, 5 loaves and 2 fishes, looking up to heaven, he blessed. He gave thanks for the food. And then the food kept multiplying to feed 5,000 people apart from women and children. Whew. And you know what he did? He gave the loaves to the disciples. You are disciples. I pretend to be Christ. I'm not quite qualified yet. But anyway. So I multiply the bread and I give it to you, and you, the 12, to the multitude. You missed that part. He multiplies, he gave the loaves to the disciples, and the disciples to the multitude. What's the lesson there? Now, guys, you're feeding them physically. But when I will go up, you're going to feed them spiritually. So meaning, if you don't draw loaves from me, if you don't do your homework on reading the Bible, if I entrust to you a flock here, what are you going to feed them with? Right now, it's a physical issue, but later on, after his ascension, they're going to have to feed the flock. What did Peter do? Not Acts, but 1 Peter and 2 Peter. Right now, they don't get the full picture, but later on they will. Let me go back to a different paragraph here. In John, the incident now in John chapter 6, 14 and 15. John chapter 6, 14 and 15 that I read for you right here. When therefore the people saw the sign that he did. What's the sign that he did in this passage? It's the feeding of the 5,000 here. This is of truth, they said, this is of truth the prophet that comes unto the word. Jesus, therefore, perceiving that they were about to come and take him by force to make him king. Where are they again today? In the message, where are they? Yes, thank you so much. In the Sea of Galilee. And the people came by force because he just fed the 5,000 and they want to make him king in Galilee. It's not prophetic. He needs to be king where? In? Jerusalem. Thank you so much. So he won't accept the offer. It's not going to work. So to make him king, withdrew again into the mountains. He wanted to make him king, and he withdrew to the mountains just in his humanity to have a time of prayer. In his deity, I don't think he needs to pray. But he was fully man and fully God. So there is a pride, maybe, in his humanity, not prideful in a sense, but no, I cannot be king in Galilee. I need to be king in Jerusalem. That's why he prophesied. Leave me alone, people. He knows what's in their heart. Beloved, would you like to elect a government that would truly pay for your grocery without taking back your gas? You would elect right away. I pay all your bills. Would you elect me? Of course you will. Don't say no. It's going to hurt my heart. It's normal. He just fed the crowd. Think about it for a moment. And the Roman Empire mistreated them to an extent. Now he feeds them. He withdraws into the mountain to pray. This is the work of the background. They witness his miracles of feeding. Now he sent the multitude away so that they may not starve on the way. He did the physical work. Now he leaves in the mountain to pray. There is a storm coming. There is a storm coming, the storm that I read to you this morning. Do you remember the passage I did? Waves, and these guys are fishermen. And I think that Jesus, he had a pretty good app on his phone, the storm-wise. Was downloaded for him. What's the weather like in 5 minutes? And the app in his deity. He needs to teach these guys. So you know about what will be coming. Guys, I'll join you. They suspect him, which is quite logical, near Bethsaida, to join. They are in the midst of the sea, probably in the northern area here somewhere. So I'm going to look on the other side here. They suspect him. He's going to walk around, which is a long walk, but not too bad at all. So he's going to join us there, and these guys got on the boat, and they row, and they have a problem there, and so on. That's the background. Not going to make a long review. What fell? What did fall? Okay. He just fed the 12,000 by the Sea of Galilee. All of it happens there. Fed the multitude. They want to make him king. No, thank you. Went into the mountain to pray. Cannot tell you where. Maybe there or maybe there. Doesn't matter. It's not the point. Sends the 12. He knows that the storm is coming. So, let me read the rest of the account. So I just did explain that. Keep in mind that we're on the Sea of Galilee. I gave you a different name. It's called the sea because of Yam. The word Aramaic word Yam counts for a lake and for the sea. And these miracles, this one today will be witnessed particularly by Peter, my favorite for now. The one that we focus on for now. And for that miracle to walk on the water, there is no possibilities to come up with an explanation here, a natural explanation. Like people do for the Exodus when he parted the sea. Some higher critics of the scriptures, they said there was about 6 inches of water or maybe 12 inches of water depending on the season that they cross. It was quite powerful to drown the army of the Egyptian in 6 inches of water. You have the power to do so, even 2 inches, but that doesn't sustain. This one is either you take it home, this miracle, or you dismiss it. There is no shot in between for that miracle that he walked on the sea. I've been there many times. You have been there. You've been to Galilee. So look, it becomes deep quite rapidly. There's small beaches, but it becomes deep quite rapidly, so there is no way to take it. So like I said, based upon Mark 45, I'll go on to the other side. They expect him to walk, actually. Okay? I witnessed the wind there myself because I lived in a kibbutz. I stayed in a kibbutz, not lived in there. And here, just be with me. I know you like that kind of information. Here, that's what we call the Golan Heights. About here, that's Syria, when we have the conflict all the time. Here, that's what we call the hills of Galilee. They're not as sharp, but it's very hilly. So that Sea of Gennesaret right now, the Sea of Galilee, is surrounded by mountain. When you go there today, you go there to have fun. People don't walk on water, they sea-doo on water. They have money, they have lots of kibbutz. If you have money, you can have a house also close to the lake. And they do sea-dooing, water skiing, and all kinds of stuff. And today, as I speak, you have the police there on the water with a boat. And they go chase them when they know that the windstorm is coming, because when the windstorm hits the Sea of Galilee, it winds indeed. And the sea becomes dangerous, and that is their case right now. Okay, that's what they face right now. The moving cause is in Mark 6:48, and seeing them in distress rowing. It's in the night. Alfred Edersheim, which is a bit sentimental in his writing, but an excellent writer, it's probably moonlight. There is no light, no electricity back then. So through the moonlight on the mountain is just my imagination right now to make it a message in a sense. The possibility is that by the shining of the moon on the water type of thing, he saw these guys in the storm rowing the boat in difficulties, or it was strictly in his deity and so on. Keep in mind that the miracles of Jesus, make a note of that. I see Lynn making notes. I kind of like it. Always, the miracles of God the Father or Jesus or the miracles of the triune God, they constantly do have a smell of redemption. There is always a redeeming message behind them. The triune God never do messages in order to show off like Satan does. Keep in mind that Satan do have the capacity to do miracles also, but it's to show off, not to redeem. And that's what will happen right now. The flavor behind them is always a redemptive flavor. It's about, based upon the text, between 3 to 6 a.m. in the morning in the storm hits the lake and so on. And in verse 48 of Mark, he wrote that he would have passed by them. You're the 12 in the boat. Okay, you're the boat. And I walk on the water and you see me and you think I am an apparition. But I don't make eye contact with anybody right now and I pass by you. Heck of a deal. Why? That they may learn in extreme situation to call upon him. That's what they need to do in the book of Acts. And that's what we need to do today. It's on the table, but you passed about it. You're in charge of your day. First thing in the morning, you have a list of to-dos. Crashing. Then call upon him. He's there in the midst of the storm. Open it. Psalm. Proverbs. Leviticus. That's if you want to sleep. Leviticus. Remember, he is training the 12 about what's coming, the mystery kingdom that I talked about, and the church age. What's coming, the church age, is within the mystery kingdom. He moved this way to cause them to call upon him in all situations, like Paul did and like Peter did in the book of Acts when they were in prison and so on and so forth. Same lesson today, a lesson to depend on him. Last week, when I saw the number of the people, which is the equivalent of seeing the waves on the lake, I lost my focus. I will shut down. Oosh. Do you think that my thinking was pleasing to God? Answer me, please, and give me the right answer. Thank you so much. It's a no. And I prepared a message last week. Did I get the... When he nudged me last week before Sunday morning at 9:30 when I was all sharp and waiting for you, he said to me, have you understood all these things? And I said, oh yes, Lord. 10 minutes later, where's the people? Today I said, even if I'm 0 people, there's one fellow here that needs to hear the message. Hey, I only have to scratch that it was, the only thing I scratched on my note, it was Pentecost last week. I made a reminder. I just scratched it because the message was ready 2 weeks ago. Walk on the water type of thing. They believe it was an apparition based on what they understand at that time prior to dying, which they think they would see the angel of death. That's my view. It's from the Jewish perspective. Because a person, right, in case of extreme death, danger type of thing, they see, the rabbis thought that there was an appearance of the angel of death to tell them that they were cooked. A little bit like Leviticus chapter 10, Nadab and Abihu offering strange fire to the Lord. That's why Zechariah, in the time of Christ, the priest that saw the glory type of thing, the angel appearing on the right-hand side of the altar, said, "I'm done." He thought that he did something wrong in the holy place, and I'm cooked. But the angel was a good message here. Be of good cheer in verse 50. Be of good cheer, it is I. It's only in Revelation. The word is tharseo, and it's only used in relationship to the Messiah. My dear widows, tharseo. Be of good cheer. It is I. Now we come to the interesting part that I will read for you, and the message will be over in 10 minutes. Go, please. Matthew 14, 28 to 33. Please go. Take a minute. I'm going to drink. And you go. Matthew 14, 28 to 33. Same story. Matthew 14, 28 to 33. Goes like this. I can still hear pages. 11:30. And Peter answered, same story. This only Matthew record. Peter. And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it is you, circle if, bid me or ask me to come unto you upon waters. And the Lord Jesus said, come. Circle come. And Peter went down from the boat and walked upon the waters. Yeah, it's kind of fun to come to Jesus. But when he saw the number of people in his own church, the wind, he was afraid and beginning to sink and cried out, saying, Lord, save me. And immediately Jesus stretched forth his hand and took hold of him and said to him, O thou of little faith, why did you doubt? And when they were gone into the boat, the wind ceased. And they that were in the boat worshipped him, circled that, saying, of the truth, you are the Son of God. That's the account. Two elements to notice. The if, which is an element of doubt. If it is you. Come on, Peter. There is an element of doubt, and bind me to come. It's presumption. Oh, what if I can? I was plagued with the same thing. What if I need to continue? And the element of doubt. So take the two elements that we also have, doubt and presumption. Sometimes we doubt the faith. But what if there is really a third heaven, a rapture, and those who pass goes directly in the presence of God? We don't doubt all the time, but sometimes when you look at the flow of the world, don't be shy if you doubt. It happens to me sometimes. Francois, is your theology proper? Is it backed up by the Word? Based upon the Word of Jesus, O you of little faith. Was I there last week? Yes, Francois could have been named, O you of little faith. Same for you when we have doubts. Joining a congregation like this, we're 20 people. It's intimidating. So I ask you to do eye contacts and so on. It's way better to mingle among 500 or 200, escape unnoticed. And for me to panic when there is 8 or 9 or none or whatever the case could be. I'm outside the will of God. We will see that here. Peter, his doubt and presumption are transformed right now and also serve for the others who witness in the boat. Focus is on Peter, but don't think that these guys are better. Please don't. Transformed to the extent that Peter will be unrecognizable in behavior in the book of Acts. You will not recognize the man in book of Acts, although we won't do Acts after this here. And then he will give us the two examples, 1 Peter and 2 Peter, when you will not recognize his behavior after having looked at his manhood while he was a disciple. There is more lesson to come to take home before we pass the door in 10 minutes here. Peter did duplicate the miracles. You cannot deny it. He walked on water all along. The text doesn't say how many steps that he did. He probably had a watch with all the steps. Anyway, probably not, because he would have recorded it in 1 and 2 Peter. I did 10 steps. He did not. Was he, Peter, in God's will? Absolutely. Even despite the doubt, if it is you, bid me to come and walk on the water. What did Christ say? Come. Was it still windy? Yes. Facing storm as believers don't always mean that we're not in his will, Francois. I'm testing you. Only 6 people. And I did not do the message. I did an open meeting. Laziness, that's what I was. Good excuse not to do the message. What's the point to do the message today with 20 and not doing it with 8 last week? Always have a good excuse. I lost a friend. I'm tired. I'm a bit discouraged. It's normal. That's why in my prayer you hear the statement that we are people of limitations. If my heart is okay to judge me this way, it pleases God. It does. Recognizing our limitations and being transparent with you so that you may know how to pray for me and me for you. It's not a gong show here. Never assume, dear beloved, that I have it all together. How can a divorcee start a local church? Some have made a fret about it. Quite something. Well, she said, yeah, I said it, and it's on tape. Transparency and honesty, because it was begun with proper motivations. And the Father can deal with me as he wants. Facing storm as believers does not always mean that we are not in his will, because like he asked for prayer, we are in the world. And here, it's always stormy, even when it's calm. It's the world system. How's your placement? How is your term deposit lately? Do you still have a mortgage? I hope not, going up. We have governments here that are making the food hard to reach for the people that are on the poor side of the coin. And you call it, some of you call it, Vancouver Island, God's country. Thank you so much. There is a better place than Vancouver Island. Put the island upside down like this instead of make it flat. It's a lesson of dependence there that we have. That's why he pretended to pass by them. Call upon me. It's a miracle. It's not a miracle done for the Israeli people to make a decision concerning his messiahship. It's been dealt with prior to the 9 parables. It's been rejected. Now he's training his ministers. And I'm a minister of the Word of God, and you also are, based upon the apostles and prophets of the New Testament that explain to us how to do local church, because these guys witness these miracles, but they will never ask you to pray to experience one. They are not interested in the miracles per se. They are interested in the obedience to the word written by them. You don't need to walk on the sea. Get on the ferry, sail with the boat, read a chapter or 2. That's walking on the sea. The event ends on a very triumphant note. There's, I don't know if you read the text with like me, but there's two miracles. They never rowed back to the shore. All of a sudden, they were to the shore. And they were about 9 hours away in the middle of the lake. It's not recorded that he rows them to the shore. They went to the shore. Don't ask me how. The men capable of walking on water can take the boat to the shore in 1/10 of a second. Why not? And they worshipped in Matthew 33, proper attitude. And they give the proper name. The proper name that they gave him of truth. You are a higher power. Do you have the same translation as me? Your translation is wrong, mine is correct. Mark?
Truly you are the Son of God.
Ah. But at the same time, the event requires reflection on our part. But at the same time, there is a miracle. He saved them and he saved Peter. There is a reflection needed on our part as to why Peter, François, was standing in need to be rescued. That's my homework. Why Peter was standing in need to be rescued? Because he lost his focus. So the application of losing our focus is for all of you, including me. Would you please stand?